Did you set some amazing goals? And now are you kind of curious why you haven't reached them or don't even feel like you're making progress to reach them? Tune into this episode as I go over the top 3 reasons we don't reach goals and how you can choose to overcome them. There are many reasons we don't reach goals, but here are the top 3 reasons and how you can choose to overcome them. Number one, your brain is actually doing the primal job it was designed to do. It is keeping you safe, conserving energy, and seeking pleasure rather than pain. Number two, you are in survival mode and you really need to take some time to process some emotions and heal from trauma. Or number three, you don't have accountability set up. So let's go back to that first one. If your brain is functioning in its most primal job, it is trying to conserve energy, keep you safe, and seek pleasure. So just think about it. If one of your goals is going to the gym, that is going to use up way too much energy to convince your brain to do it. It also may come along with some risk. So your brain's trying to keep you safe from any of those dangers at the gym. And seeking pleasure, well, working out is not always the most pleasurable experience. So your brain's got some good evidence of why you shouldn't go to the gym. And it's really, really good at convincing you. So, good news I have is you can choose to rewire your brain. And it's actually easier than it sounds. We can rewire our brain by simply choosing a renewed thought, one that is going to serve us better to reach the goal. So, for example, if you take your thoughts captive, those ones that are saying, oh, the gym is dangerous, or oh, that doesn't sound like it'll bring pleasure, then you're going to take that thought captive and you're going to replace it with a thought that would serve you better. Another great example is, and we often have this is a pretty common one, is I'm not a person that reaches goals. How many people have you heard talking about this right now, right? How many of us set goals every year and then we realize, oh, wow, we're not reaching them. So you have to choose a thought, take that one captive, tuck it away, put it away, and then choose the thought that's going to serve you. A good example could be, I am a person who reaches my goals. Another one would be, I am a person who keeps my promises to myself. Okay, the second reason that you may not be reaching your goals is that you are in a survival mode. You need time to process either some unprocessed emotions, or maybe you need to actually heal from some trauma in your past. Survival mode is kind of like living in safe mode. It's like you're not truly, fully engaged and living. This is much more common than we once realized. There's actually millions of people who are currently living in survival mode. And I am going to guess it could even been higher than that. But survival mode can be caused by prolonged exposure to stress. It also can be brought on by the feelings of living in a fight, flight, or freeze mode. This involves adaptive changes to help us respond to our stress, okay, rather than dealing with it more directly. That's how we get into this adaptive behavior of survival mode. But as I said, we can rewire our brain. We just have to be aware of what to look for to be able to tell if we're in survival mode. Some of the key indications are, of course, as mentioned, that prolonged stress that you're probably aware of, some anxiety. You may have unusual forgetfulness. You may be unable to focus, unable to make decisions easily. You may simply feel stuck or unmotivated. You may have noticed some unusual mood swings. You may just feel like you're on edge, or you may be on hyper alert. You may lack trust. You may feel mental or physical exhaustion or burnout, you may just simply be unable to rest and feel like you're running on empty. Another that's often an indicator of survival mode is that you find yourself numbing out or buffering. So, for example, if rather than doing whatever your goal is, you find yourself sitting and watching Netflix. Netflix is great, but if we use it against ourselves, okay, by letting it be a stumbling block to reaching our goals, then it's considered numbing out or buffering. And it's just really a big distraction for us. So, what we have to do once we've recognized that we are in this survival mode, okay, we don't want to stay in that because actually being in a constant state of survival mode can even lead to chronic illness on top of not getting our goals met, right? So, one way out of survival mode is actually to create connection. That connection can be with your family, with friends, with church, with your counselor, with your coach. And it actually leads straight into the third reason that we often don't reach our goals. And that is we simply forgot to set up any accountability. So you're kind of playing the Lone Ranger. And as humans, we often think that we can do things in isolation. I got this is such a common mindset or mantra of our generation. But the truth is, although there are things we clearly can do alone, we actually operate much better with reaching goals working together. We are designed to help each other. We are designed to be able to hold each other accountable, even to carry a burden. If you're back at that number two reason and you need to process some emotions, you can reach out to someone that could help you with processing those emotions. You also may just want to find a friend who would like to reach a goal too. They don't have to be working on the same goal, but as long as they have a goal, you can set up weekly or maybe even more frequently check ins that are easy and very effective. So, going back to that real common goal, if your goal is to lose weight and you're about to eat that delicious, delectable donut, but you know it's going to be counterproductive to your goal, your weekly check in coming up is going to come to mind. Having to confess your donut off plan donut is going to come to mind, and you may very well skip it. It's an easy, basic truth that having accountability helps us be more of what we want to be. It helps us to reach our goals. If you would like more information on accountability, if you would like to be a part of my group coaching program, you can check out the show notes below. We have an entire module on goals, on overcoming obstacles, and so much more. So rather than being hard on yourself, give yourself an extra measure of grace instead of an extra scoop of ice cream, and be very curious and compassionate with yourself. See if one of these areas mentioned would be helpful to you to work on. Maybe if one of those three areas was resolved, you might be in a healthier place to be ready to dive into those amazing goals. Until next time, this is my hope for you. May you find glimmers of hope everywhere. Be sure to follow and share this podcast. You can find me at stephaniejohns.com. You can use the show notes below for coaching and to join my email list, Hope and Wellness. Be sure to grab that mental health checklist and my favorite planner. All of this and more in the show notes below.